2-0. Josh Hart, the leading scorer in this one for the Knicks, 26 points, 4 boards, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Now to talk all things Game 2, we welcome in our NBA analysts John Gonzalez and Avery Johnson. And Coach, we've got to start with you. For the second straight game, the Cavs have been an absolute sieve defensively. In Game 1, they were on the wrong end of a 44-11 end-of-game run. And in Game 2, they gave up 18 straight unanswered points in the third quarter. And both of those were pivotal stretches. So how does a team stop the bleeding when it gets in such a bad defensive state?
Well, they got to force their opponents into more turnovers. The Knicks were extraordinary tonight and take care of the ball. Only 6 turnovers? Normally teams sometimes will have 6 turnovers in a quarter, but the Knicks were extraordinary in ball security. Cleveland wasn't very good defensively. I knew this game was going to be a little bit of a hangover from Game 1. Just too many different situations on offense and defense that they have to overcome. The coach had 4 timeouts, which you lose 2 of those timeouts inside of a certain period of time in Game 1, so you'll only be down to 2. And he never called the timeout just to give his team a chance to rest. So it was too much to overcome. And as much as bad as they were defensively in Game 1, offensively, they were unbelievably horrible. So that carried over, and there was a lingering effect. And then Josh Hart was extraordinary. The way he made those shots, they left him open. It was a good scouting report overall, but they beat the scouting report. And, I thought from even talking to some of our CBS Sports HQ executives earlier today, that the Cleveland Cavaliers' only chance would be to win Game 3 at home. This game was a loss. It was a scheduled loss tonight.
Yeah, the Knicks go on that run in Game 1 in the fourth quarter. Tonight it was the third quarter run where they outscore the Cavs by 11. And you're right, Coley, that defense wasn't very good. And you know what? The defense has only been average for Cleveland all season long. They were middle of the pack, 15th in defensive rating. The 2 bigs are good, but the other guys are not so good. Now, they did limit Jalen Brunson from scoring. One of the things that obviously cooked them in the last game was Jalen Brunson got super hot and he went right at James Harden, and that ended up dooming the Cavaliers. Tonight, Jalen Brunson didn't score the ball well, and they really frustrated him. Instead, though, while he's being frustrated, he finds a way to still impact the game. It wasn't scoring early on. It was 14 assists. So, he's still a really important player and figured out a way to influence the game. And as Avery mentioned, then here comes Josh Hart, right? And if you're the Cavs, you're thinking, well, what's going on here? Because in Game 1, they couldn't even play Josh Hart because of his shooting late in the fourth quarter and in overtime, and he was really frustrated by that. Tonight, they were almost daring him to shoot, and he did, and he was a knockdown shooter. He ends up having a playoff career-high 26 points on 10 of 21 from the floor, and he hits 5 threes. If you're the Cavs, that's just not only like bad defense, but also bad luck that Josh Hart goes absolutely supernova on you. And then, as Avery mentioned, on top of that, the Cavs could not hit a shot tonight to save their life. So bad night for the Cavs all the way around.
Supernova. I know exactly what you did right there, John. That was really well done. We got to say, 26 points, 15 of those points coming from 3 for Josh Hart. With him being the elite guy, I want to stay right there a little bit longer, John. How much of a difference maker can Josh Hart be offensively to the rest of this series, just building off of a night like he had tonight? On game.
Yeah, he's Mr. Do Everything. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's all over the floor all the time. What you expect from Josh Hart is all the hustle stuff, right? For him to be a great rebounder. Tonight he had 7 assists as well. To play defense, to frustrate the other team, to be the nudge, right? To the fly in the ointment. What you don't expect from Josh Hart most nights is for him to go for a playoff career high 26 points, right? He was so efficient. He took 21 shots. I think if you're the Cavs and you're coming into this game and you said, all right, Josh Hart is going to take the most shots. He's going to take 21 shots. You're thinking, we could win this game. This might be the game for us. He ends up taking 11 threes. This could be the game. This might be the game for us. It was not for the Cleveland Cavaliers because Josh Hart was Mr. Do Everything and up to and including scoring. So he really took some of the burden off of Jalen Brunson, who, again, it was harder for him to score tonight. I thought Karl Anthony Towns was much better tonight. He had a double-double in both games, but in Game 1, he had 7 turnovers. Tonight, no turnovers, which was awesome. OG Anunoby, they got 32 minutes out of him. They got to feel good about that. Mikal Bridges was efficient up and down the roster for the Knicks for their starters. They were all really good in different ways. But yeah, led by Josh Hart, when he has that kind of night, Knicks are tough to beat.
Let's talk about the positives for Cleveland going into game 3. And I know there's not many of them. And sure, the Knicks had 32 assists on 6 turnovers, significant assist to turnover ratio. 88% of their scoring came from their starters tonight. Their bench, they didn't really need their bench tonight. But let's talk about Cleveland. 22 for 32 from the free throw line. Okay, so the free throw attempts were there. The conversion rate wasn't as profound or exceptional in a way that you needed or efficient. So that's a positive. If you can continue to get to the free throw line and convert at higher rate going into your game 3 at home, that's a positive. I just think for Cleveland, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, you got to play like MVPs. If you guys think you're future Hall of Famers, you got to play like it in this series, and especially with ball security. Donovan Mitchell was not a factor. He and James Harden in game 1, were they 1 for 12, 1 for 13, the 4th quarter and overtime? They have to put their imprint on this game in the first 5 minutes of game 3. I've coached in a ton of NBA games, Western Conference Finals, NBA Finals. We always want to talk about the last 5 minutes of the game. Believe me, I had a couple of guys that helped my teams get started in the first 5 to 7 minutes of the game to set the tone for the rest of the game. That's what James Harden and Donovan Mitchell has to do in game 3.
I really like that insight, Coach. And I'm curious, when do you give that message to guys like James Harden and Donovan Mitchell? Is that right after game 2? Is it minutes before game 3? When does that message come?
The message doesn't come after game 2 because they're already emotional. Now remember, here's my cell phone. Remember, these cell phones are different. You got, all the different social media sites. It's a bombardment of information. And so right now with these players, you got to wait. It's all about timing, situation. Do you do it collectively with Donovan Mitchell and James Harden in a room together? Do you wait and do it individually? But now is not the time. You wait, let's get on the plane, let's go back home, let's digest all of the information. We'll have a film session as a team collectively together. And then I'll figure out, do I want to talk to both of these guys, together? Do I want to send the message individually? It's definitely going to come from me. It's not going to come from an individual coach. So I just have to make that decision on timing, place. Do I do it at their home, at the facility, away from the facility? But the message will get delivered.
Hey, John, what do you need to see from Donovan Mitchell and James Harden in game 3?
Yeah, well, one of the things I would have said was I'd like them to clean up the turnovers from game 1, right? And they did tonight. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had 1 turnover and James Harden remarkably had none. So right there, you would think that would put them in a position to win the game. And again, limiting the entire team to single-digit turnovers, that's a really good start. But yeah, Avery's right. Those 2 guys really have to step up their game. James Harden tonight, not an efficient score. Donovan Mitchell, almost a quiet 25 points. Now, the good news for the Cavs is they can't shoot the ball any worse than they shot the ball tonight. Overall, as a team, Sam Merrill had some clean looks, missed all 7 of his 3-pointers. Max Strus, he only made 1 of his 3s. As a team, they only made 9. They shot 26% from deep. The Cavs offense is a good offense, right? Almost top 5 in offensive rating during the regular season. And the good news is that they play much better at home in this postseason than they have been on the road. On the road, they played 9 times. They lost 7 of them, right? Those 2 games that they won in Detroit were almost anomalies. Game 5 and Game 7, good for them. But that hasn't been their MO in this postseason. They've been really good at home, though. They've won 6 of their 7 games. They score at a better rate. They shoot at a better rate. I would expect that both Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are going to be better in Game 3. And they have to be, right? Because if you lose Game 3, this thing is absolutely a wrap. So you need both of them to come with their A games in Game 3 when it goes back to Cleveland.
Yeah, they certainly do. And for both of you here, the Cavs, you know, they are tough to beat at home, as we well know. They're 6-1 inside Rocket Arena this postseason. So starting with you, John, what is your level of belief in the Knicks' ability to possibly go up 3-0 in Cleveland, or is it going to be what you just said, that Harden and Mitchell are going to show up?
Yeah, the Cavs, again, they play really well at home. They've won 6 of 7 at home. They score the ball extremely well at home, or at least much better than they do on the road. They tend to be better with the ball. The defense tends to be better. The arena and the atmosphere is behind them. But when you're asking my level of confidence, I mean, are the Knicks ever going to lose again? They've won 9 in a row. They've looked incredible. You saw what happened in the fourth quarter of game 1 when they're down 22 points. They come roaring back because they have the best fourth quarter defense in the NBA and the best fourth quarter point differential. And then tonight, they didn't even wait till the fourth quarter. They came rearing out of the gate at halftime and outscored the Cavs by 11 in the third quarter. And on a night when Jalen Brunson wasn't really offensively scoring the ball, he just decides that like he's going to be a great distributor and has 14 assists. So look, I would lean the Cavs, but only slightly because the Knicks have been playing really well. This win streak has to get snapped by the Cavs, and that's a tall order.
I think the key is, a lot of times with me being a former coach, you don't want to bring up coaching, but Kenny Atkinson, you got to step up. Okay. This hasn't been a good series for Kenny Atkinson. So he's got to step up, maybe play a little zone. I remember, guys, Dale Harris, my assistant coach, and this is where assistant coaches come in. Sometimes if you want to hide James Harden, do it in the zone. Figure out how to give yourself, your team a chance, give them something that the Knicks haven't expected. Play a 1-3-1, a 3-2, a 2-3, hide James Harden in the back of it, steal a couple of possessions. This is where coaching comes in, steal game 3 at home and make this a 2-1 series and have a chance to tie up the series in game 4 going back to New York.
Guys, I really love this conversation. You both brought a lot of good points, a lot of good energy. And, the Knicks fans, they were chanting Knicks in 4 at the end of game 2. We will see how accurate that is. It's got to start first with game 3 Saturday in Cleveland. Thanks very much for the time to both of you. A quick look at the Knicks' history when they're leading 2-0 in the conference and divisional finals. 2026, we will see what will happen.